Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, they're great in the mind. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Well, good morning there, everybody, and welcome to a Ken and Joe in the morning on this 4th of July. We got a muted Joe. How you doing?
Yeah, I was walking in
freedom.
the traffic right now. I was like, it's going to be pretty loud, so I was trying to spare the audience having to hear it. Everybody's trying to get where they're going, I guess. I really don't know the reason for all the traffic. I mean, it's the 4th. Nobody should really have to go anywhere, right? Didn't we fight the British for this? so that people could have the day off and barbecue and.
Oh yeah, but you got to sit there and everybody's got to pile in their second, third, fourth cousins.
Dude. So you guys gonna have fireworks where you live?
Yeah, there'll be fireworks over the lake. I think we're doing it tomorrow though.
Why tomorrow?
Because Oswego's weird. I was gonna say, let me see.
Yeah, that's
Because there's a lot of times we end up doing that on the weekend instead of the actual day.
What kind of red coat shit is that? What, you got a bunch of Tories in your city government?
Oh, hey, we do have the parade today. Let's see if they're actually doing the fireworks. Oh, no, they are going to do the fireworks actually today.
Yeah. Like
well, there's been a lot of times that we literally haven't done it on the actual 4th. We waited till the weekend or did it the weekend before.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a very weird little city here.
Yeah. Well, at least you get fireworks. See, I live in the wonderful city of Napa, and our town has been overrun by liberals, and so now they took away the fireworks show because it scares people's dogs.
What?
Yeah.
That's absolutely freaking ridiculous.
So it's like, hey, let's not celebrate our country's independence because, some people's dogs might shit on their carpet.
That's freaking nuts.
No, that's freaking Napa. Not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
So, hey, but on the bright side, like they took away the fireworks, but they gave us a really pretty drone show.
Ooh, because that's real entertaining. What's up there, broski?
What's going on, guys? Good morning. I didn't know if there was going to be a show today.
I was gonna say we were debating on it and going back and forth, and we said, "Screw it, why not?"
No, the drone show's freaking good.
That was cool. I got a chance to catch up with Ken yesterday, and then after the show a little bit, so that was good.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, man, I haven't even checked NFL news today, man. Anything jumping out at us right now?
Not really.
We were complaining about liberals.
Oh, you want to get me started on that, man? I am like the anti-liberal. Like, you know, it's one of those things, man. It's just always how I've been. I don't want the government involved in my life. I want small government. I don't want to be giving my hard-earned money away to, you know, the government. And
in fact, I think we fought the British for far less.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it's just like really like
you fought the British for a 2% tax on tea, and here, like, the government taxes us like pretty much on everything. Like, there's going to be an air tax soon. You know, like.
Yeah, and not even just the taxes, just everything in general, just telling you how you think. Because you see how this like party is now. It's like there is no free speech in the libtard party. Like, it's like you have to believe everything they believe, or else you're ostracized. Pretty much,
you're a bigot and a homophobe.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bend. Like, and there's, you know what I mean. They try to say they're all like for people, and so it's like, no, there's no discussions being had. There's no room for a different opinion.
And they took our fireworks too.
Yeah, I mean,
where I live, they took our fireworks because it scares people's dogs.
Well, I'm glad I live in Red Neckerson Valley because we might not always do fireworks on the exact day, but we still have.
Yeah. Well, I'm still doing them.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
because I'm American.
Careful. I was gonna say, be careful. They might arrest you for giving somebody's dog a heart palpitation.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Around where I live, man, fireworks go off like multiple times every week, just for whatever reason. Like, I hear fireworks, I see fireworks all the time. So
yeah, actually, I just saw some last night. Like, one of the main streets in our town, the main thoroughfares is called Jefferson, and I live like on an off street of that, right? Like, and so all of a sudden I just see I hear this loud boom. I look over, and somebody was lighting fireworks off in the middle of Jefferson at like midnight. It was like, damn, that's ballsy. Like, Jefferson? Okay.
Yeah, like where I used to live and like grew up in Pennsylvania, man. If you lit fireworks off, like the cops would like fucking swarm you, man. They would like.
But see, if you think about it, right, it makes perfect sense because they lit it off on Jefferson Street because Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to hear that happened, and hopefully there were no repercussions for doing that.
No, they got away scot-free. So.
Yeah, man, good stuff, man. But yeah, I'm right on the border of North and South Carolina, literally, like quarter mile.
Shit, then you can fire cannons into the air over there.
Oh yeah, like it's very lax, we'll say. Yes, indeed. But yeah, man. Yeah, I guess we'll get the big beautiful bill passed today, and we'll be good, man. You know,
I was commenting on Rob's show the other day, and they were shitting all over the Raiders, dude. It was pissing me off. Like, they went through the Raiders' schedule, and they gave them 7 wins, but I felt like they didn't give them a single toss-up game. It was like any game that on that schedule that like you'd be like, they were like other team automatically, and I was like, man, you guys, okay.
I was gonna say, honestly, I'd put you probably somewhere around 7.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the Raiders, honestly, in so many ways, remind me of the Bears of the AFC, and it's one of those things with the Raiders. Like, I have to kind of see it to believe it. Kind of like that's my take with the Bears anymore. Like, dude, I don't care about the talk. I don't care about this. Show me a season first, and then you know what I mean. So the Raiders, I kind of have that same approach for, but I don't think they have as much talent as the Bears, you know. So, and I think the division they play in might be better. So, you know, it's going to be tough. Like I'm probably right around, man, 6-7 wins for the Raiders this year myself. Yeah.
And that's well, But you think Gentry's a bust too, so.
Oh yeah, I thought they literally had the worst draft of any team. And Joe, again, it's just my honest criticism, man. Don't take it like any kind of way personally or anything. It's just I will always give you like my honest thoughts, even against with the Bears. I mean, I shit on them plenty, so I'm just gonna tell it like it is, from my perspective.
Well, hey there, Yoli, and happy birthday.
Yeah, I just disagree.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man.
And not even just because I'm a Raider fan, just looking at it like objectively, I don't think they had the worst draft. In fact, they actually a lot of the pundits surprisingly were high on their draft, which I'm not used to.
Which really gives me more faith in my actual opinion that they did have a terrible draft.
The linchpin here, did Mel Kiper say you had a good draft?
No, you can't have it both ways. Like, so every year they shit on the Raiders draft, and it turns out to be correct. Like the Raiders draft was shit, right? This year they're like, no, the Raiders might be doing something over there, but you're saying, nah, it's still shit. Like you can't have it both ways. Like,
well, I'm not going both ways. I'm staying one way, and my one way is their draft sucked. So I'm not wavering, man. But
that's not what I mean.
When your number one receiver is Jacoby Myers, your team's not going to be good. I'm sorry. Like it's just
our number one receiver is Brock Bowers.
Yeah, and that's another issue. Having a tight end as your number one receiver, like you know what I mean.
Brock Bowers isn't a tight end though, broski.
Okay,
Brock Bowers is a receiver in a tight end's body.
I can give you that one. Anytime you guys signed Ian Thomas, which is like he's been on the Panthers for like 8 years, and he is literally, I'm not gonna lie, the worst tight end I've ever seen stay in the league so long. Like I don't understand how this guy's still getting paid in the league. He is literally like the worst tight end that played more than like a handful of years that I think I've ever seen in the history of the NFL. Ian Thomas.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
Nor do I. He's probably somebody that we heard about and has done little to nothing, so we don't remember.
Yeah, he's a blocking tight end. That's what they call him now.
I mean, I get the skepticism, and I get the whole like, the Raiders will get 6-7 wins. Like, there's a lot against them. They are in a really tough division. I don't. But personally, the thing is like we have 4 Hall of Fame coaches in our division, right? But the Raiders have a Hall of Fame coach too. Like it's not like there's 3. It's not like the other 3 coaches in the division are Hall of Fame and ours is ass. Like we have a Hall of Fame coach, right? Like Geno isn't like a world beater, but I wouldn't automatically rank him as the worst quarterback in the division. Like I think he's better than Bo Nix right now. So at least maybe third. I'm not gonna. Ken has that look on his face, like he was expecting me to say he's better than Herbert or something. I'm like, no.
I was waiting for some major homerism.
I'm not a homer. Like I'm definitely not gonna say he's better than Mahomes. Like, come on, dude. But I think he's better than Bo Nix right now. Like,
Yeah, I'd give you that argument. Absolutely.
So, and then Brock Bowers, in my opinion, is the best tight end in the division. Jacoby Myers, like, see that one thing that the AFC West doesn't really have. I mean, who are you going to say is the best receiver in the division? Cortland Sutton? Is he? I mean, because name somebody on Kansas City that's better. Xavier Worthy, maybe. He had a good rookie year, but
that's a maybe because he had a
decent. Sutton's pretty good.
Okay, so they have Xavier Worthy, who I think is going to be phenomenal. I mean, that guy's just a freaking playmaker.
He had a great rookie season, but I'm just saying I'm not going to rank him right now as the best receiver in the division.
Oh, I would definitely rank him over Jacoby Myers. And then they also have that Rashee Rice kid. They got that young Sky Moore kid. They still have Juju.
Sky Moore, I don't believe in whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying I think any of them are like super players. I'm just kind of naming who they have. It's like I'd rather have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Sky Moore over the Raiders like receivers. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So how many of those receivers that you just named finished with more than 1,000 yards last year?
I mean, I'd have to pull stats. Worthy, I don't think he had 1,000 receiving, but I know he had over 1,000 all purpose, probably.
Yeah, and that would probably be it.
Yeah, but don't. All I'm saying is, don't make that your case for Jacoby Myers because he's fucking terrible. Like he's not.
I wouldn't say he's terrible. I'd say he's not a number one.
Well, I think you should go back and look at his film, dude. Like with the Raiders, like Jacoby has. I would have last year. I would have totally agreed with you. Like I'm not saying he's a legit like top 5 number 1 or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but to say he's garbage is, I think, unfair. The dude makes some pretty difficult catches. He's, I think he's serviceable. We still need a number 1. That's for sure. We need a number 1 receiver.
Like a solid number 2 type of guy.
Yeah, and so for me, the offense is gonna run through Bowers and Genty if it's gonna run at all this year. But that's gonna benefit Jacoby Myers. He's not going to be the number 1 target. So, he'll get to be the number 2 that everyone says he is, But, I mean, you look at, it's so – I know Broski thinks that Genty's a bust, but I'm not convinced that he's a bust. I think I'm kind of I don't have an opinion on Genty at this point. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's what I will say. He's gonna put up some numbers this year because he's gonna get fed this year, in my opinion. To me, he's their starter and he's gonna get fed. I don't really see how that doesn't happen. So at the end of the season, he might have 1,000 yards. He might have, whatever, 7 touchdowns, something like that. Whatever the case may be, and people might look at it and be like, "Hey, that's really good for a rookie." That's sometimes stats can be misleading, is all I'm going to say. But we haven't even played the season yet. Let's see how he looks. Obviously, my thoughts on the matter. I think there's a lot of running backs in this draft that they're going to be better pros, but we'll see. That doesn't, let's just wait and see on that, and we'll readdress it. But yeah,
and like I said. I really liked Amarian Hampton. I thought Hampton was a really good back. I really liked Travion Henderson. I thought he's going to be a really good back. There were other backs that I was willing, I wasn't really, if you remember, I wasn't really big on taking Genty at 6. I thought,
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I wasn't pounding the table for him, but we took him, and now it's I'm going to wait and see. You're not hearing me say he's going to go for 1,500 yards and
oh no, I hear you.
Touchdowns.
I get that,
but I'm not saying that he's going to be a complete bust either. I don't know. I'm in wait and see mode with him, and I'm hoping that I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I do think the Raiders have done. I think they've set him up pretty well. Geno's a competent quarterback. They have, Bowers and Jacoby Myers. And I think one draft pick that nobody's really talking about, and I think people kind of underestimated, and we'll see. Again, it's a wait and see kind of thing. But I think Dante Thornton actually might be something. I know that Brosy's going to say, but he came from Tennessee, and Tennessee's offense is so bad, right? But he played at Oregon for 2 years before he went to Tennessee. And
I know. No, finish.
So he actually has a route tree. it actually even surprised the Raiders, because when he showed up to the mini camps, they were like thinking, oh, we're going to have to teach this dude how to run routes because he played at Tennessee. And then all of a sudden he like showed them a whole route tree, and they're like, how do you know this? He's like, I played at Oregon for 2 years, dude. You have to run routes at Oregon, you know? So the Raiders were like surprised by that. They were like, oh, well, this is good. This means like we don't have to spend as much time like teaching this dude from the ground up, you know? And physically, I mean, he's a specimen, dude. He's 6'5". I think he's like 6'4" or 6'5", 215, and runs a 4.3. Like,
yeah, no, I remember we touched on him a couple of weeks ago. You know,
I'm just saying that I'm like, you know,
what I'm saying is
cautiously optimistic about him.
Yeah, and that's cool, man. He does obviously have some, you know, a lot of just talent. You know, that's can't really deny that, man. Yeah, like I said, Dan, I remember I was comparing him to Brian Thomas. Like, if he could be something in the realm of Brian Thomas, that's a hell of a pick.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, you were. That's right. And I was saying, well, you know, I'd prefer Randy Moss.
that was a good back and forth, man. Yeah.
And then the whole panel was like, whoa, slow down on Randy Moss. Let's just get Brian Thomas first. Like, I'll take Randy. Like, you know.
Yeah. Joe, I think each and every one of us would take a Randy Moss.
Yeah. Well, the point is that I think the dude. See, the Raiders, like, they didn't take like the sexy picks, you know, but they took some guys that I feel like they went with measurables in some areas, dude. Like their 3rd round pick, that corner, gosh, what's his name? Darian, the dude from Iowa or Iowa State, like the corner.
Who the Raiders took?
Yeah, in the 3rd round, they took this corner.
Oh, Darian Porter, you're talking about.
Yeah, Darian Porter, right? So they took Darian Porter, right? Now it's not like a sexy pick because he didn't play a whole lot of corner. Like, he just started really playing corner, but his measurables are through the roof, dude. His RAS score is through the roof, and like he's exactly the kind of corner that Pete Carroll has traditionally looked for. You know, he's like, so. I mean, I don't know. I trust that Pete Carroll knows what he's doing, you know?
No, I hear you, man. I'm always very skeptical about Big 12 cornerbacks, though.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I mean, hey, like I said, just my, you know, some of my honest critiques, and but that's why they play the games, right? You know, let's see how these teams do in the seasons.
Oh yeah. We've all put our foot in our mouths with we thought this one guy was going to be absolutely terrible, or this guy's going to be the next freaking thing, next greatest thing since sliced bread, and these guys don't pan out. That's why we're not in GM roles.
And then the other thing was these guys picked the Raiders to go 0-6 in the division, which I thought was just
I'll say you split with Denver. And I'll give you maybe a split with Kansas City, maybe. But I think the Chargers take you both times.
Now you're looking at rosters, right? But you're forgetting about the old Harbaugh-Carroll rivalry, dude. Like, Pete Carroll actually has the edge in that rivalry, I think. If you look at their head-to-head, I think it's Pete Carroll. Don't you remember when the Niners, like, the only team they couldn't beat was the Seahawks? When Harbaugh was the coach and they just couldn't beat the Seahawks in the regular season or the postseason? Like, that was during Pete Carroll's time and during Harbaugh's time. Remember the whole "what's your deal" thing? Like, like, so I'm just saying, coach. If you know, Ken likes to talk about how coaching matters. So if coaching matters,
yeah,
I believe that the Raiders can steal a game off of the Chargers, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
so the Raiders got swept by their division last year.
Yeah, with Gardner Minshew and our whole defense injured, and like, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but
yeah.
I mean, like, people that are looking at that as if that was our best, like they're trying to use that as like a baseline. That was like everything that could go wrong with our season went wrong. Like, really.
I hear you. My
Gardner
point.
Minshew absolutely dicked the dog. Like he completely forgot how to play football.
No, I hear you.
Christian Wilkins, our way overpriced free agent defensive tackle, got injured like game 2, and was out for the season. So basically, Max Crosby was forced to like carry that defense, and even then, at week 7 or 8, the Raiders were still a top 10 defense. And then it's just injuries started to pile up.
Yeah,
and
and much like the Bears, I feel it's more than a 1-year fix. So, I feel like it's almost like the same kind of thing. You want to see the whole team just take a step in the right direction this season, and then next season start talking about winning the division and playoffs. I mean, that's how I look at it for the Bears anyway.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the Raiders to win the division this year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. If they did, I would look at that like sort of like the Commanders last year, like they're ahead of schedule, like they overperformed. But because we still have needs, like we need a number 1 receiver. We need some more. We lost four of our starting defensive players this year. We lost Hobbs, Merrick, Spillane, Diablo. Like, those, we're not going to be able to replace all those guys in
I was going to
one.
say you brought in Stokes to replace Hobbs. That should do the job for you.
Oh, Cannon, you're facetious.
Yeah, I was going to say
even I don't buy that.
Hobbs and Stokes are both trash. So I mean, I was just like a shit for shit exchange. But, signed what? Like
they brought in Devin White, who got cut from the Eagles last year. They're hoping that he can contribute something, but thankfully they're not. I don't think they're expecting him to start, or I don't think they're expecting him. At the very least, like they went and got a Landon Roberts from the Steelers, so I think they feel that Roberts can contribute similarly to Spillane, but for much cheaper. They went and got Jeremy Chin from the Commanders to replace Merrick at safety. So again, I think they're because Merrick. The one thing, like Merrick didn't produce a whole lot. Like he didn't have. If you look at his career interceptions and stuff, like he might have 3 picks in his career, dude, so far. And so it's, I mean, he was highly touted, but when he was coming out of college, but he just really started in the last year or 2 to kind of become a decent player. And even then he never reached like great player status. So, I don't know. We'll see how Chin plays. But yeah, my point was we're not going to be able to replace all 4 of those starters in one season, I don't think, and unless all of our rookies hit, which that's kind of rare to happen.
Yep.
But I do think that with our coaching, I think the Raiders can split the division. I think it's the other games that are going to keep us out of the playoffs and keep us from winning the division. Like, I think we have a pretty tough schedule, including our division. Like our division is tough. So we have 6 tough games right off the bat, but I do think like we can steal a game from Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City is what they have been.
No.
I think they're kind of starting to fade. They're going to have to. Their offensive line, at least, is starting to fade because they're losing all those like really good vets that they had, and because they just can't afford to keep them anymore, and they're having to replace them, and so that
that
shows vulnerability.
Like, because people could say what they want about them, but like they always had a really they were really good in the trenches. Like they really had a good O line and D line. So I think last year, they kind of got worn out, and you started seeing some, big time. What do you want to say? The cracks in the trenches on both sides for them, especially towards the end of the season. But it's one of those things too. I think people are kind of dumping on them a little too much. I think they still have Mahomes, they still have Reed as the head. They drafted. They brought some guys in through the draft. We'll see how they go, man. We'll see. I don't expect them to miss the playoffs. We'll say that. They did.
I'm not expecting them to be dog shit. I'm just saying I don't think that they're an automatic lock for the division like they have been for the last 5 to 7 years or whatever. Like I think this year my favorite for the division is the Chargers.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Chargers. I mean, they're looking tough, man. They really are. We'll see if some of these younger guys can step up. But I mean, dude,
if Omari and Hampton halfway turns out for them, that's going to be big for them, dude.
Oh yeah, especially with a Harbaugh run team. Shit.
As much as he likes to run the ball,
Yeah, and I mean, think about it. Like, Jim Harbaugh is all about building that O-line and D-line. Like, that's what he does, and I love that about him. Dude, you give Jim Harbaugh on that O-line, Omari and Hampton, and Najee Harris at running back. Like, dude, you're going to be plowing through fucking motherfuckers this year. You're going to be trucking. You're going to be truck sticking fuckers, man.
Yeah, dude.
You really are.
It's like when I was watching the draft and the Chargers took Omari and Hampton, I was like, fuck.
Yep.
Because I just knew
Joe, so that they drafted Joe Alt, last year. They signed that huge fucking guard from the Eagles who's like the same size as Joe Alt. He's like a 6'7" fucking guard, that Mekhi Becton kid. Dude, they have a fucking terrifying offensive line right now. And they have a very underrated young wide receiver duo in Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnson. So don't sleep.
Ladd McConkey's a hell of a receiver.
Ladd McConkey's a hell of a player.
Johnson's going to be a stud. He's like
Quentin Johnson started to come on last year, but he had his struggles before that.
He played at a fucking Big 12 school. That's why. I'm telling you right now, he's got some serious potential. Ladd McConkey's already fucking good. So,
Ladd McConkey. You know who Ladd McConkey reminds me of? To me, he's like a better, faster version of Hunter Renfrow.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ladd. I mean, he's going to be a player, and they drafted.
His route running is ridiculous, dude.
Well, they drafted that Trey Harris kid. They drafted a guy who actually played at Penn State and transferred to Auburn, I believe, Lambert Smith. So they drafted a couple wide receivers also. Jim Harbaugh knows what the fuck he's doing putting a team together. That's all I'm saying. He really does.
I don't disagree.
Defensively, I mean, we'll see how they do, but like they should be always solid on defense.
They lost Bosa. Mack is another year older. Derwin James is another year older. They have some concerns at linebacker.
Kenneth have a no-name kind of defense, I would say, but I just think that they're going to be they'll be solid, man. They'll be solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We will see. I think the Raiders have some work to do on defense. Like I said. I think Jacorian Bennett is starting to show that he's going to be a pretty decent corner, which the Raiders have not really been that good at. I mean, aside from the occasional standout like Nnamdi Asomugha, like the Raiders have not really been good at drafting corners. And but Jacorian Bennett seems to have been a decent pickup, and we'll see. What's his name? Darian, what's his name? Darian Porter.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anybody else. Unless they're going to start Stokes on the outside.
You don't want to do that.
Well, I don't think we have a choice, dude. Our corner room is very thin, so we're
my
either going to start the rookie.
Dude, the funniest thing is I saw a post by one of the Raiders fan pages there on Facebook that Stokes looks so great. He's so excited that he got out of Green Bay and he's there and can't wait to turn the page on his career and show his potential.
Yeah.
That just sounded a lot of like stroking yourself off to try to tell yourself that this one was a good pickup.
Well, what do you expect him to say? Like, hey, we signed this dude that's absolute dog shit because there wasn't really anything left in the market.
Yeah, yes, because I have said that a time or two.
I mean, you can't. The Raiders media page is not going to say that. Like, they're not going to come out.
I have said that with my Packers page.
No, but I'm saying like Raiders.
Yeah. This wasn't.
They're not going to come out and say like, hey, we just signed this absolute dog shit corner because there was absolutely nothing left on the market at corner. But hey, make sure to get your season tickets.
No, this wasn't from the Raiders' actual page. It was a fan page.
Well, Raider fans, we have some idiots too. If you can't tell, I am not enthusiastic about the Stokes signing. Other than that, he provides cheap depth, like because we got him for like $2 or $3 million. Like
that's stolen overpay.
I mean, that's pretty much like vet minimum, dude.
That's stolen overpay.
No, I got a random question for you, if you don't mind. So I was just curious, like, if you had to pick one team in the NFC, one team in the AFC, sleeper team, just one in each conference this year, who would you pick?
What do we define as sleeper team?
Let's just go with this: a team that did not. So they don't necessarily have to make the playoffs this year. They can just like maybe push for the playoffs. But let's keep it at this: a team that did not make the playoffs last season. Let's go there. So a team that didn't make the playoffs last season that either will make the playoffs this year or just a drastic improvement. Like maybe they get from 3 wins to like 9 wins, and you can call that a sleeper team. I feel.
Okay. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. Like I have another team in mind, but I'm gonna say I think people are sleeping on the Raiders a little bit. I think that I can see 3 different scenarios for the Raiders season, and like I can realistically see all 3 of them. The first one is Genty's a bust. Geno's past it, and the Raiders are just terrible, right? They win 3, 4, 5 games maybe. I could see that happening. I could see a scenario where Genty actually turns out to be pretty good, and it's just the Raiders are limited by their lack of a number 1 receiver. They miss the guys that they lost on defense, so they end up somewhere around like 7, 8 wins. But they're still feeling positive about it because they okay, Genty hit. We got some good players. We just need to build, and there's something to build on for next season. And then I can also see a scenario where like everything goes right for them. Like just things seem to click. Genty turns out to be really good. The defensive guys that we brought in are serviceable, and they push for a playoff spot, but they end up like just outside at like 9 wins or maybe 8 wins, and like that 9th win could have got them in, kind of a deal. And they lose that game. Like to me, that would be like a good season for them if they just missed the playoffs. And I don't think it's super unrealistic. It's just that's like if everything goes right. I see more like the middle scenario kind of being right, where they end up at like 7, 8 wins and they have some things to be happy about, but they also are very clear on what they need to fix. As far as another team, I think New England has a chance to be like a lot better than they have been, because I think Drake May showed last year that he's going to be that guy for them. And I've been saying it since he was coming out. Like I thought Drake May was going to be really good. if they could just protect him, like I think that, and then New England also got Trevion Henderson to go with Ramondre Stevenson. So now their running back room is solidified.
Sure
They
is.
still, I mean, didn't they get Stephon Diggs too?
They did,
Yeah.
but they didn't. I'm not sure if he's still on the team. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. I know he did sign though, so I don't know if he'll be on.
Yeah, I know he signed with the Patriots. So if he's gonna play, I mean, he's not the Stephon Diggs of old, but at the same time, he's better than anything they had on that receiver in that receiver room to begin with. And then, they got Mike Vrabel, who has a history of of being a pretty good coach. So I think that I don't think they're ready to unseat Buffalo for the division, but I could definitely see them making a wild card, especially when you have teams like Miami who are, in my opinion, looking weaker. And
Well,
you got.
No, I like your Patriots pick. Who do you think? To me, there's more like potential sleepers in the NFC. Who do you like as a possible sleeper in the NFC?
I mean, I don't know. Like,
You know what? I'm going to go out on a slight limb here, and I only say slight because there are some people that are touting this too. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers end up finishing number 2 in their division.
Okay.
I would only because only because of this. Like, I like what the Panthers did in the draft. I thought they had a pretty good draft, and Bryce Young is all of a sudden starting to look like he can play. But they're still they still don't have. I don't think they have playoff level talent. Or like I don't even think they have wild card talent yet. I think they're 1 year out still. But I'm cautiously optimistic about, or not even cautiously optimistic, because I'm not a fan of them. But let's just say, like, I'm impressed with what they're doing so far, like to rebuild that team. I think it seems like they're making the right moves. But I still think they're going to finish 3rd in the division, because I think Atlanta has a chance to actually. They're one of to me, the sleepers. They have the offensive talent, but they just haven't really had good quarterback play. And Penix last year, for the little bit that he played, I liked what I saw. And so I think Penix is going to be better than Cousins was for them this year or last year.
Yeah, Penix, I think, is going to be decent. But I've heard a little bit of rumblings that there's quite a few players over there that are disgruntled.
Well, winning is the best cologne.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you have the level of talent on offense that they have, I mean, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, you have Bijan Robinson. Those are probably the disgruntled guys, because they're like, why do we have this level of stars on our team and we suck, right? Like, well, it's because you had Kirko last year. Like, Kirko, I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins. I never really was, but last year, like, they basically trotted out the corpse of Kirk. Like, it wasn't the Kirk that was like good for the Vikings. It was post Achilles Kirk, and he just didn't. I never saw a game where he looked comfortable. And that's just being honest. So I think the Falcons actually could finish 2nd in that division, because I don't think they're ready to unseat the Bucs. The Bucs have tremendous talent on offense. They got Godwin, they got Mike Evans, their tight end is really good. They got Bucky Brooks, they got Baker, and their defense is still pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, Joe, I really like both your picks, because I mean, I actually agree. I think the Patriots, there's a good chance they can finish 2nd in their division, and same with the Falcons. I'm a huge Mike Penix person. I thought he was the best quarterback in that class. And the difference between him and like Bryce Young is like, A, Penix has a fucking cannon of an arm. B, he's strong to Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts. He has Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. You know what I mean? That's a pretty nice little like unit of players, which to me is much better than what Bryce has to show to.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I wanted Penix, dude. If Atlanta had the Raiders were gonna take Penix if Atlanta didn't jump him, you know, if they didn't take him at 8, the Raiders were gonna take him. So
yeah, and you know,
wanted
the other thing the Falcons did, they addressed pass rush hardcore. They signed Leonard Floyd and they drafted 2 edge rushers in the draft in the first round. Like,
so yeah. Hey, Mitch, you're actually. I'm not trying to argue with you, but your fact is incorrect. He actually had 2 healthy seasons. His last 2 seasons at Washington, he had 4 injury-prone seasons or injury-plagued seasons, and then his last 2 seasons at Washington, he was completely healthy. So,
exactly.
And he was healthy last year. So I think he's managed to get that whole thing behind him. And like, if we're talking. In my opinion, Penix has the most arm talent in the entire league, dude. Like, that guy throws 70-yard lasers, dude.
Yeah, he might. And just to kind of add to that, like, Penix is the only player in the history of Division I college football to have back-to-back 4,600-yard plus passing seasons. You know, like you said, he was the quarterback at Indiana. He played like Mike Vick. He was like just a running quarterback. Broke his leg or knee a couple times, whatever. But he actually learned from that already. So he learned those hard lessons in college and has already recovered, readjusted his game, you know, basically reestablished himself. Yeah, he hasn't been hurt in 3 years. So, I mean, you know.
And not just that, but like, no, going along with what you said, Broski, I agree with that. And also, like, if you have the arm talent that Michael Penix has, why do you need to run the ball? Like,
well,
dude,
and please do
throw the fucking ball. Like, God gave you this amazing gift so you could throw 70-yard lasers right into a guy's hands. Just throw the fucking ball. You know, like,
he's still highly athletic. He ran like a 4.45 40. Still,
yeah, but I'm not taking that risk. If
I get it. I get it. And I don't think he is either. I'm just saying he still is highly athletic.
Yeah, he can move.
The ability to move and, you know, scramble to get those 10 yards and get out of bounds or something if he needs to. Like, he's got a lot of talent, that kid.
But that's the only reason he's running. In my opinion, Atlanta is going to be like, dude, if you're not running for a first down, don't even bother. Like, just throw the ball away. Like, you know, laser that shit into the stands, dude. Like, you know.
And on that perfect note, on what Atlanta should be pumping into Penix's ear, we want to thank everybody for spending their 4th of July morning with us. Thanks for commenting, those that did. Thank you guys for hopping on the panel. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your holiday. And hey, as always,
Caleb is
go, Pack, go.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.